and the Louie Bellina Show. It is the final hour on a Tuesday, and that usually signals, not like a flare in the sky or a Batmobile or a carrier pigeon, but still, it usually signals it's time for Olin Buchanan of Texags, the Texags universe. So it's Texags, Texags.com, Texags Live. I don't know if it's Texags Mobile yet, but it's just a whole lot of Texags is kind of the point. He joins me inside the Charles Schwab studio. What's up, brother?
Just another day in paradise, man.
It's always good to see you.
College stage. Well, it's good to be here.
You spent the weekend in Baton Rouge for one of those check mark moments in life. Your boy, after 8-9 years, graduated from LSU. He went there, did his time, and, he's growing up.
Yeah, he the first Buchanan in my line to not just graduate college, to go to college. You know, I didn't go. My brother and sister, neither of them went. My dad and mom didn't go. Their grandparents were just farmers out in Point, Texas. If you've ever heard of Point,
no.
It's out about an hour or so east of Dallas. So a little town called Emory is nearby. Things like that.
Well, why didn't you say that?
Yeah, Emory helped.
Yeah.
Yes. So
now we all know.
Yeah. So they were from way out there. Rains. So, but they were just farmers. And so,
honest work.
Yeah. To see my son graduate's always, I think for every parent, to see, especially if you only have one, and understanding that, I turned 40 and I was living in Austin, single, which, that'll raise some questions, but I was single in Austin and at the time, no real prospects. So I was thinking, I'm probably never going to have kids.
You'd already passed that notion up?
Yeah, because at that age, you figure if you marry somebody, if you meet somebody that would be interested in me, she's probably going to be nearly the same age and probably has her own kids. And if she doesn't, she either doesn't want any or maybe her opportunity is passed. And so it's, I had resigned myself that I'd never have a son or a daughter. Well, then, of course, I met my wife, and she was a few years younger than me.
But you were 41, and she was like 22?
Well, no, not that many. She
looks young.
Yeah, she was in her early 30s.
Sure.
And so, anyway, it's amazing how it worked out. And then I have a son, only child. And like I said, any parent is going to, I think, going to just have this overflow of pride when you see your child, go to graduate. But yet when you consider that, it was unlikely at one time that I thought I'd even have a son. And then to think that, he went to college, which I wasn't able to do. And, so it's just, it's an amazing weekend.
With all the years
we celebrated it, let me tell you.
Did y'all? Really?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, that's so. I love the fact you have a relationship with them. And over the years, from the stories you've told me and the things y'all have done, you have this great relationship with them.
Yeah, we said, we had a few drinks on, and by the way, Irma's family, they were very supportive. So we had people fly in from California. We had people come up from the Rio Grande Valley.
People you know or just random people?
No, people we know.
Okay.
People from Dallas, so he had quite a bit of people there to support him and watch him graduate. So that was quite the party that night at a place, the Revelry, which is a real popular, think Dixie Chicken for them, for LSU, that
Except
kind of
they have crawfish hanging on the walls, not dead animals.
And then the next Saturday, we took that opportunity to head down to the LaBerge Casino and sit there, play some cards together.
That's the fancy one, I know.
Yeah, so, and since he's turned 22, that was the 5th time we've gone to the tables together. And I've still I'm not saying I won a lot of money, but I've not lost money.
You'll take that. You will take that.
Now, I did have to give him $100 of my winnings to keep him playing.
You had to float him.
But so anyway, think of it. You're with your, if you're with your son, and you're, if your dad or your brother, somebody close to you, and you're just having a great time. Just the playing the cards, playing blackjack was that was just secondary. It was we're spending time together, and it was great. Thank you for asking.
Well, I I realize how special it is.
Yeah, it was big.
It's the one. It's a marker in your life. It's one of those moments. You see your boy walking, and things are moving. He's a couple months. He's going to start the rest of his life, and yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. And again, and over the years, you've always told me his stories.
Yeah, he's a great kid. What I'd wonder is a guy like, say, Rusty Burson, who has 3 children
and no hair,
and I'd wonder if you have the same emotions and feelings for the third one to see graduate as opposed to the first. Not saying you love them less, but you've been through it. Right?
Yeah.
So those parents that have multiple children, I wonder if it's, what it's like for them, if their experience was similar to mine every single time.
Saturday, I got to go to the A&M baseball game at Rusty.
That was amazing.
It was an amazing game.
Yeah.
Hanging out with him was awesome. It was fun. It just really a treat.
Rusty's such a great guy to be around. He's very knowledgeable. I like to watch sports with knowledgeable fans.
Well, I got to explain so much to him.
Yeah.
I helped him move forward as a fan. It was great. I felt really good helping him.
Yeah. I don't like the first time I went to a baseball game with my wife, a college baseball game, and I was explaining a lot to her, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I was explaining a lot to her, and my wife likes sports. So, she was soaking it up like a sponge, and now she talks sports with anybody in baseball, but I can get kind of, I don't mean to be this way, but I can get kind of, I don't want to say surly. I can just get impatient when I'm watching sports with people that really don't know it. They say stuff like, well, they should have traded for Pat Mahomes, and then they'd be okay. Right? Don't say stupid stuff like that around me. I'm trying to enjoy the game because the Chiefs aren't trading Patrick Mahomes. Those kind of things drive me crazy. It's not me.
I'm
Logan
very
Lee.
mood dependent. If I'm hanging out with someone I know has no clue about sports, they will affect me none because I don't expect them to. If I'm in a crowd and someone is trying to play the role of I know everything, the second they say something dumb, I'm an attack dog. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're going to play the role, be the role.
Logan Lee's the nicest guy I know.
Oh, easy.
And Logan Lee will not watch basketball with people that don't know the game.
I know that. We've talked about that. Yes. Logan goes to games, but he doesn't. I think he'd prefer to be just left alone to watch games.
I used to love covering a game next to him, because when we were both at Texags. And Logan, look, I understand what's going on in baseball. I mean, basketball. But I don't see some of the nuances that he would point out. Hey, did you see this? I'm saying, show. And then, watch it unfold from the eyes of a guy who's been a coach and a player and at that level.
And you're talking about the subtle things, like the 2 guys inside the block and
what they're doing and how. Some of those things. So anyway, that was fun, but he was probably thinking, why am I having to watch basketball next to this guy?
Babysitting Olin as I'm trying to watch the game, right? Oh, it's great stuff. Yeah.
I think we all have that guy, might be a friend, might be a former friend, might be an in-law, for goodness sakes, that just doesn't know. And that's fine if you don't know, but like you were saying, don't act like you know if you know.
I have, again, if I'm hanging out with someone or a group that knows nothing about sports and they just enjoy it, like they can literally just go, that's awesome, and enjoy it. I have no problem. I don't need to be around sports experts to enjoy. I love the honesty of just enjoying something for what it is. I appreciate that.
I do too. If you're just enjoying the game, what I'm talking about is the commentary when you clearly don't know what you're talking about. That just kind of drives me crazy, and I shouldn't be that way. But
you're jaded. You're an old journalist.
I am.
You're just jaded from it all.
And and you'll know this. You'll know this because you understand what the press box, not protocol is what I'm looking for. The etiquette.
The unwritten rules.
To be kind of stoic and quiet. You can comment on games, but you're not rooting. And so when I'm at home, that's kind of how I watch sports. And then I have a wife who turns on the Raiders, and you would think she was one of those people that that are in the
paint, shoulder pads,
and she's yelling.
She wants
to
be Darth Raider.
Yeah, I don't even like to go out to watch the Raiders in public because
See, I can hang with her. I want that. I want the real fan.
I'll tell you what.
I'm busy.
This season,
I'm busy. 979-693. I knew where you were going with that. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Loop Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Loop Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. Text me, but really text Olin. He's here every Tuesday, 1 o'clock. He's inside the Charles Schwab studio. Olin, over the weekend, history was made. Greatness was achieved. A&M won the Lone Star Showdown.
Oh, yeah. Great. I don't think anybody would have known if it wasn't, pointed out. But yeah, good.
Well, how are we supposed to know? There's not a running scoreboard somewhere. There's not like a board we can check.
Right. It's, here's the thing I've always said. I'm glad they won it. And we've already talked about, I didn't go to A&M, so maybe I see things differently than you're. I want to beat Texas in everything, but beating Texas is not the pinnacle for me. I want to beat them. I want to beat them. If I could only beat one opponent, I want it to be Texas. But I have bigger fish to fry in my Texas A&M fandom. I want to see the Aggie. I know guys that would say, "Oh, if we win 1-11 but beat Texas, I'll be okay." I'm like, no.
But that's dying. That's slowly dying.
I know.
I believe that's true. It's slowly dying.
The mentality that has been there.
Yes.
Look, I'll take 11-1 like last year with a loss to Texas, 100 times out of 100. If that means I get into the playoff and have a chance to win the national championship.
I'm going to ask you that if it happens 4 straight years, and I'll tell you why. Participation gets old.
Do I get a national championship though?
No. I said participation.
Yeah.
You win something, win an SEC title, you win a natty, you win something, that's not participating. That's why I said I'll ask you if the same thing happens 4 years in a row. For now, first CFP ever, give me that in a heartbeat. I'll sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
Participation gets old. We're not at that point. Not close. That's a down the road conversation.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want to win. I want to get all that really ultimately matters to me is I want to see my team in the playoff and winning in the playoff and winning a championship. And to me that's bigger. Okay, go ahead.
No. Well, the thing about this showdown, Lone Star Showdown victory to Texas, is you did win along the way. You did more than beat Texas because you have a volleyball national championship.
Yes.
We now have the A&M women's tennis national championship. Baseball swept Texas. So things were accomplished more than just, you beat Texas, heads up. So there was a greater than achievement accomplished along the way. In other words, if that's all you had to say about this and that's all that was accomplished, your thought, I think, would be more relevant. But Aggie athletics did more than just beat Texas heads up.
Yeah. It's funny. We were talking to Shireen Williams this morning on the Go Hour.
I know her.
Yeah, everybody does.
She's awesome. Hall of Famer.
She was discussing whether or not A&M, we're going to say, we said in a golden age of A&M athletics, but entering a golden age of A&M athletics because the point was A&M, for the most part, has been so successful and competitive at a high level, not just competing, but winning in almost every sport. You mentioned women's tennis and volleyball. And you're talking about
the track and field's always there.
Track and field's always good. The baseball team, has turned things around like you were just talking about. The softball team, it didn't finish the way we wanted, but they were hosting again. The football team, of course, made the playoff. The basketball team beat all the odds with a new coach, and we all know about how it started out for him to not just get in the NCAA tournament, but win a game. So, and I know soccer was struggle, but they reacted and brought in this new coach. G retired. They brought in this new coach, Shuttlesworth. So we'll see how that goes. And you're just seeing A&M. How dare I leave out equestrian for winning the SEC championship? So you're seeing A&M doing what A&M should do. A&M should contend, not compete. Because if you're out there playing, you're competing. A&M should legitimately contend for championships in all sports because of all the advantages you have here.
Yes. Something, because I think I heard y'all talking about that. And the question, because this is a question I have about every other day right now, and I'll stop. I promise everyone. But I think they need a natty in one of the big threes to cement it / finish it. It doesn't mean it's not real, and it doesn't mean it's not in progress. But I think you need one of the big three. It's not just football. It's one of the big three to cement it.
Yeah, that's why I kind of changed the wording from in the golden age to entering the gold age.
It's in progress. You see all the signs. You see all the indicators. It takes nothing away from what's going on because Aggie athletics, here you go. Do you want to be in the top 10 or do you want to go to the top? You need one of the big three to go to the top.
Well, and we saw how close we were in baseball, and unfortunately there was maybe a not being identified where a foul ball to the catcher was. That might have been, if made that play, maybe they would have won the national championship in baseball 2 years ago. Football, I mean, I don't think they were going to beat Indiana this year. I don't think anybody was. But they were 5 yards away, and maybe even closer than that to at least to maybe beating the team that played Indiana for the national championship. So I don't think they're as far away as some might want to believe. In fact, I'll say this, and let me couch this before I say this. I thought Kevin Sumlin was perfect for what A&M needed when they hired him. And maybe at first he was. Then he got too much success and got kind of drunk on the success, among other things. And we found out that it really wasn't so much about Kevin. And then I thought Jimbo was a great guy that could do it. And at first it was looking that way. And then he seemed to get, I don't know, lazy. Stubborn and lazy, all right?
I don't even want to use the word lazy. I'm just going to say he got stubborn.
Well, I think some of the coaching hires he made seemed lazy to me, and some of the other things. Anyway, but then so I want to put that out first to just say, hey, I've been mistaken. But I look at Mike Elko and what he's doing, and I just have more faith, more optimism than ever that they've got the right guy at the right time. And you see him he just beat Miami for a guy in their backyard, the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, number 3 rated player overall. And you're like, and you know what? I feel like they're going to develop him. Unlike some of the guys that came in as part of that number 1 recruiting class in 2022.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. The conversation just beginning. Olin Buchanan of Texags joins me Tuesdays inside the Charles Schwab studio. It's the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
The money machine is open now.
Let's go.
Enter at zone1150.com, or you can enter through the Zone newsletter to win $5,000.
Come on.
It is the Louie Bellina Show. It is the Tuesday edition. And, I always say text, and people love texting. It's popular from what the kids all tell me. But you also can call. We can talk on the D4 Land Services hotline. And a lot of times I'm like, caller 5 now. Well, that's the D4 Land Services hotline. And a lot of guests don't live next door like Olin. They live in Nashville like a Mitch and a Braden, or New York like a Joe Sheehan, or Rusty. He just refuses to leave Miramont. He stays inside his mansion there. So
yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, that's what I would do. Yeah,
he's got everything in the world. But they joined me on the D4 Land Services hotline. And if you ever need your land fixed, land cleared, land excavated, go check out d4landservices.com. But you're looking for forestry, mulching, pond construction, metal building, a custom metal building from the ground up, go check out d4landservices.com. Now, Olin, maybe you're driving around doing a lunch thing, but you helped out when I was talking about the worst coaches since 2015 in the SEC.
Yeah.
That was from SEC country. I just wanted to get a quick take from you because you helped me out. That Butch Jones was the champion of life, and Phil Fulmer was the Shanksylvania.
I thought he said we have guys who are 5 stars who get 5 stars in life. Because I think
he said champions of life.
Maybe he did, but at one time he said something like, well, "We have 5 stars in life."
I'm sure he doubled down on it. He was
asked about recruiting.
Public media savvy. You say something like that, you should run from it. I'm sure he doubled down.
He started off pretty well at Tennessee, and I think that whole don't try. I would not that any football coach is ever going to ask me for advice, but just in my years of watching. There's two things you should never do as a football coach.
All right.
You should never try to hide a story. Like if you got a guy in trouble,
Get ahead of it.
get ahead of it. Because when it comes out, the cover-up's going to be bigger than the story.
When it comes out, you get some on you.
Yes.
If you come out in front of it, you look like you're being open. Even when you get in front of it, you're covering it up. If you come out in front of it, you look like you're open.
Example, Kevin Sumlin with the Kirk Merritt, the guy who had some troubles with some tutors, right?
Deviant behavior?
Yeah, should have just dealt with it instead of trying to hide it. And then when it came out, it looked even worse. So never do that. And then don't try to spin. When I can tell you, whenever a coach starts feeling pressure, starts feeling heat, the first thing he'll do is he starts reminding you of all the things they've accomplished.
You're going full Jimbo now.
Yeah. Well, not
That's
just
full
Jimbo,
Jimbo.
but I've seen it for Jimbo was one of them.
When
but
the
I've
pressure
seen it
started on him,
we did this, we've done this. And the thing is, nobody cares what you've done unless it's been national champions. I mean, Bobby Bowden got run out, and he had 2 national championships.
Bobby Bowden had one of the most successful decades of any coach, other than maybe like the Bud Oklahoma dynasties.
Bud Wilkinson.
Thank you. And Osborne. But other than that, they finished in the top 3 for like 10 straight years in the final standings. But people don't understand how incredible Bobby Bowden was. But
All right.
in his last 5 years,
And he got
probably
pushed
they
out.
were. Yeah.
He got pushed out because
He didn't know when it was time to go.
Everybody's going to know, what have you done for me lately?
It's obvious when slippage starts. Yes.
So I've even been hearing that Dabo Swinney is starting to catch some heat, right?
Well, they're going to start. We'll see what the polls say. Now that ESPN picked them up for the opening game against LSU on ESPN College Game Day, they'll start the year ranked 25. They were not going to start the year ranked before, but they will start 25 now.
So they can have we got a rank.
Yes. I will put forth that if they start the year 25 or unranked and finish the year unranked or 25, they probably need to move on from Dabo.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, that's
but,
not what you were going to say.
Well, but here's a guy that's won 2 national championships at Clemson. And now he's starting to feel some heat because he's not winning now. Not to the degree that
But the game's changed. This isn't then. We have the NIL and we have portal. We have free agency. And so for some of these coaches, this is not a system they understand. So what they did to win those natties is not a system that's current.
Well, okay. But the bottom line is he won. And people want him gone. Some do, or they're pushed out. But, I was listening to you, and I'll say this. I don't know that Jimbo Fisher should be on the list.
Thank you. I don't think he does. I don't.
People act like it was a disaster. It was disappointing. But, one year they should have been in the playoff, 2020. And then, another year they won a bowl game. Another year they were there. I think people look at that 5-7 year, and I do too. I keep to this day, when I think about that game, I say Devon Achane, Haynes King, Evan Stewart, and Anaya Smith were all on the field at the same time, and A&M scored 7 points on offense against Appalachian State. That's a problem. But they ended up at the end of that year knocking off number 5 LSU and looked spectacular doing it. So that was obviously the floor. All the other years were you had one horrible year, one really great year, and a bunch of okay years. So are you a top 10? Take away the salary, all right? Are you one of the 10 worst hires?
No, he does not belong on a list that has Matt Luke, Derek Mason, Charlie Strong, Chad Morris, Jeremy Pruitt. No, not at all. He wasn't one of the 10 worst coaches since 2015 in the SEC.
Now, I agree with one of the things I heard you say. I think I heard you say that you thought Chad Morris should have been number 1 instead of Brian Harsin.
Yep.
I completely agree with you on that. I remember the first time I ever heard him in person, talking about Chad Morris, was when he was at SEC Media Days that year when he had taken over at Arkansas. And some of his answers to direct questions were all deflect, and he sounded like a high school coach. And that's not to be a
They're not trying to
a
insult
knock
high school
on a high
coaches.
school coach, but you've got to understand you're in a different ball game now. And I remember thinking, this guy's in way over his head. Now, I didn't think he was in such over his head that he was going to lose to North Texas bad. Or that, remember, he had a quarterback at Arkansas. I can't remember the guy's name. He wasn't playing. That guy transferred to Western Kentucky and beat Arkansas at West. Think about that. It's bad enough that you lost to Western Kentucky. They're not typically even as good as Appalachian State, but you lost to Western Kentucky, quarterbacked by the guy that you said wasn't good enough to play for you.
Which is a bit of poetic justice, correct phrasing there?
I guess it's just that. So to me, I can't imagine a worse. I'll tell you somebody else. He maybe doesn't fit the timeline. But I thought one of the worst hires would be Brett Bielema if he fit the timeline. Brett Bielema, think about this.
All right, notice I have my study face.
He came into
I had
Arkansas.
my concentration
He had one nice year, but he came into Arkansas. And one of the first things, where does Arkansas recruit most of its players from?
Oh, Texas, Dallas.
One of the first things he did was he started ridiculing and putting down the way the high school football in Texas.
Actually, yeah. That's right.
What the hell are you doing? And now they had coaches, now they're not going to tell their players, you can't go there. But what they can do is they can sure not tell them that the coach is there to visit them.
Correct. They can tell coaches you can't come on campus during hours.
And if the kid asks the coach for some advice, he might say, well, I wouldn't go to Arkansas. That guy's an idiot.
He won't develop you.
What are you doing, Brett Bielema? So I think but again, you said since
2015.
They had to be hired by 20, because I think he's still coached in 2015.
Look, I don't know what, says since 2015.
So Bielema would be on that list way before Jimbo Fisher.
So Coach Fran obviously was before 2015.
Is Zach Arnett on there?
No.
See, that's crazy.
He didn't coach long enough, maybe.
But you know why he didn't coach? All right.
He didn't coach long.
I know, he's only there a year.
Okay, Zach Arnett. Okay.
Zach Arnett takes over from Mike Leach.
And before the spring football starts, he announces we're changing. No. He took over at the end of spring because Leach passed away. So with no offseason at all, the first thing he does
a heck of a quarterback
is changes the offense with no offseason practice.
And a senior quarterback whose
best player on the team was who?
Will Rogers.
Offensive quarterback in the system they had. And the first thing he does with no offseason.
I mean, I get it if you want to do something different, but read the room, fellas. Start figuring out what. You've got a senior quarterback that has flourished in this system. Like you said, you don't have time to get everybody.
You don't have time to recruit. You don't have time to implement. It was the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen a coach do. That and run the power sweep to the short side. But still.
I mean, it was, yeah. So the fact that Jimbo's on there and Zach Arnett's not, I would have to question that.
Man, you convinced me. Zach Arnett, because I just felt like he wasn't even 12 months on the job. He got fired in less than 12 months,
that's how bad he was. Yeah.
But you're right. That should be a testament of how bad, not disqualified. But was he since 2015?
Well, he's definitely. It's definitely. I mean, it's happened just 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, if we're going Mississippi State coaches, where's Joe Moorhead?
Right, I was about to say, Joe Moorhead's got to be on there too.
Man, Mississippi State is on a roll of skank.
It might be everybody since Leach.
Easy now.
Now, Leach might be one of the best, if you did the best hires, because you can't just put in, it doesn't have to be just wins and losses.
And Jeff Levy's not tearing it up.
He's not.
But he's not worse. He's just not good.
And
it's not working.
Right.
Not working.
And it might, but he had Texas beat last year and his team just fell apart. You're like,
okay, hold on real quick. I'm doing this. I'm marking my list. Jimbo Fisher. I'm just straight
put
through
in
it.
Arnett.
Zach.
Yeah.
Arnett. That is so done. See, that's why I have you in here, Owen. I need someone to help me.
So.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back now that we fixed the list. Now that the list is more correct or right. Do you think Napier should be on the list? Well, he wasn't good. Is he as bad as Zach Arnett?
If he's on the
Hugh
list.
Freeze, Matt Luke, and Chad Morris?
Yeah, if he's on the list, he's further down.
All right, we'll come back. It is the Louie Bellina Show. Inside the Charles Schwab studio, it's the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
Visit the Pod Center at zone1150.com and find every hour of every day of your favorite shows. Download or subscribe.
The Louie Bellina Show, just kind of rolling on. Now, coming up, it's about 13, 14 minutes, because every Tuesday at 150, it's the Community Spotlight, and we visit with these different nonprofits from around the Brazos Valley, like Twin City Mission, Aggieland Humane, Brazos Valley Food Bank. Now, today at 150, it is the United Way of the Brazos Valley. But we got more OB, Olin Buchanan time. He's with TexAgs, texags.com. And Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. right here on the Zone. It's TexAgs Live, him and David for an hour. And truly, you kind of don't know what to expect, pretty much. It's always entertaining. It's always entertaining.
Some days more than others.
Most days. I don't know of a day
because we
not.
never plan anything. That's the problem. David plans the talking, the topics, right? But we frequently, just like we do on this show, sometimes deviate from the plan.
I don't see the point in trying to plan with you. To be fair, it's kind of like, hey, do I want to waste all this energy? Like, what would be the point of having a plan? Oh yeah, there is none. So, needless to say, Aggie baseball regular season's wrapped up, and it's been this problem I've had. I can't figure out this team because if you want to do like metrics, I guess analytics, and going 3-7 in game one, have ones of a series. Having exactly one weekend rotation starter and having 1.5 guys in the pen that you could count on, right? That does not equal finishing third in the SEC. It does not equal an expected top 8 national seed. None of that adds up. Zero. Matter of fact, that probably equals a losing record and not being in the postseason if we're being 100% honest. Now, I understand the one concept that this offense is overwhelming, but I don't care. What I just said, you can't go 3-7 in game ones, have one weekend starting pitcher and 1.5 guys in the pen and win. But this team isn't just winning. They're a top 10 team.
Yeah. Here's the deal with that. Their first day, because I don't want to say Friday because sometimes it's on Thursday. Their first
I just say game ones.
Their game one starters have been, let's say, highly inconsistent. We'll just put it that way.
You're so kind.
Yeah, so highly inconsistent. So I almost expect to lose the first game, but I have always expected to win the second game. You know why? Because Aiden Sims has been, for the most part, extremely consistent.
But he was the Sunday guy at the start.
Okay, I know. All right, but when he became the second guy, and then the third day, I don't even think I cared who the starter was because at least theoretically, you're facing your opponent's number 3 pitcher on game 3, the third best. And that lineup can just mash they can mash good pitching. So if I'm getting the not the ace, further down the deck, if you're dealing me the jack or the 10, I've got a lineup that can destroy them. Now, sometimes they don't always do that. Sometimes they destroy the guy on the second day. Sometimes even the first day, it just can't score enough.
They've got a lot of double-digit runs on Saturday.
They do. But they
game twos.
But there's the deal. How a lot of teams can have that game one pitcher that's just dominant. A lot of teams have that.
And on game ones, Aggies, they've lost with 10 runs. They've lost with 8 runs. So this dominant pitcher, there's two times this year where I think that the pitcher won the Friday. They've scored runs on these game ones, man.
Right. So, but their own pitching, like I said, has been highly inconsistent. But I think your lineup, and you can't count on going out and scoring 10 runs every game, 9, 8, 7, 9. You can't.
Take that back.
But their own lineup is so powerful that they can usually outslug their opponent. And I think that's kind of what they. And here's the deal: if they can get to the 7th inning with a lead, then you can bring in fresh corn. And I know they don't want to pitch him 3 innings, but they can. And fresh corn, he's not as automatic as like Oschenbeck was a couple of years ago, but he's still your most effective and most consistent guy. And so if you can get to the 7th inning with the lead, or at least a chance to win, you got a great opportunity. You're probably going to end up winning because Fresh Corn's typically not going to give up a lot of runs. I know he gave up 2 on last Saturday and then pitched a scoreless ninth inning. But that was just the day after he pitched 3 innings, 52 pitches, and to get a save. But your offense is going to typically or frequently score enough to compensate for your erratic pitching.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's with some guys. Now, I'll say this, and I'm sure you'll agree with it. I think it's been you don't want anybody to get hurt. But through all of that, and the guys are starting to get healthy and come back, but through all that, I think there was a blessing in disguise with the injury that led to Royo getting back in the lineup. Because Royo can get in that back part of the order, and he's not just – you just don't assume it's going to be an out like you do with some of the guys. You still feel like, okay, I got a chance for somebody not just to get on base, but to hit one out because he had 10 home runs last year. So I think finding or rediscovering Royo will make this team better.
How? All right. I know we still have Selection Sunday, so I can ask you this one more time. But what prediction do you have for Aggie baseball in the postseason?
I think they're going to be an 8 seed. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be an 8 seed, no matter what even happens in Hoover. Now, I'm no expert on it, but I would challenge someone. I might be dead wrong on this, but I'd highly doubt there's many teams that finished in the SEC third and wasn't a top 8 seed.
100%.
So now we all know about committees in Texas A&M. So if there's ever going to be a first, but you won what they win 18 games. You won a series over Texas, which is going to be a top 8 seed.
Correct.
You won a series over Florida.
Per D1 baseball, A&M is tied with like 3 other schools, but they have the most series wins over projected number 1 seeds in the country. In the country with 3. So it's little things like that for me.
Right. So how do you ignore that?
Well, everything about their criteria says they're a national seed. Their RPI is 10, which is outside of 8, but you adjust RPI, the committee does. I'll say it that way. But everything else about their resume is a top 8 national seed with no argument.
Yeah. So, again, I'm no expert on it, but it sure seems to me that I would say they should be closer to a 7 than a 9.
Thank you. And you nailed the very first thing. Since when is the third place SEC team not a national seed? That doesn't compute.
I mean, no one's going to tell you that no one's going to argue that the SEC is not the strongest conference in baseball. I mean, by far. I'm not saying that they're going to win the national championship because it might be UCLA, but by far the strongest conference. I mean, Texas is going to be a top 8 seed. Georgia. That maybe Florida or Alabama or somebody like that's going to get in there. Bama. So, when you're talking that many, how do you look at it and say, okay, you finished third in the best conference in the country by far. You beat Texas. You beat Florida. You just beat Mississippi State, which may be in the top 16. How do you look at that and say, no, this team's not a top 8 seed? To me, I can't understand how you could argue against A&M.
Now, you're predicting the seed. How far are they going to go?
I think they would win their. I think they'd win their regional.
Sure.
And then I'd have to look at the matchup.
It doesn't matter
if my opponent has just one really good pitcher. I'm not saying they're going to have bad pitchers. I'm saying just one dominant pitcher. I'm going to feel really good about A&M, especially as they're getting healthy. I think I'd like to see the matchups, but I think they have a 70% chance to get to Omaha. How's that?
I got a text message I need to share with you before you roll. It is from, let's see. Oh, Will Riggs.
Okay.
Says, hi, this is Will Riggs from Louisiana, living in Bryan. heading to work in Brenham. I work at the Bluebell plant and enjoy listening to your show on 93.7 on my way to work. Go Aggie.
Thank you, Will.
Just a nice, friendly,
Appreciate
on
that.
his way to work.
You know, I like that Bluebell pralines and cream. That's my favorite.
I like anything with pralines. And yes, the pralines and cream is pretty awesome.
That's pretty
I
awesome.
also like the pecan ones too.
Yeah, butter pecan.
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
I have to stay away from it. I like it so much.
Yeah, same thing. Will, thank you for listening. Drive safely. I finally went to the Bluebell plant for the first time ever last year, and I felt like an idiot for never going.
Oh yeah. Did you get like the biggest scoop of ice cream you ever had for $1?
Let's just say I got a lot of scoops of ice cream for $1. They do not cheat you. Oh, and be awesome, brother.
Let's see it.
When we return, Community Spotlight here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Oh, you look like you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to remind you that I'm at the SEC spring meetings next week.
So you're going to be live from Florida?
So if you want me, you're going to have to call me.
Well, we have phones. Come on, dude.
We'll do it on
That's easy.
We'll do it via phone then.
Okay.
The Louie Bellina Show.
Let the broadcasting of the disturbed continue.
Fun is not optional.
Darn it.
Weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show on a Tuesday. We end our Tuesdays with the Community Spotlight. We visit with various nonprofits from around the Brazos Valley and find out the mission, what's coming up next. And it's either an opportunity maybe to get the help you need, find out how you can get involved, and find out the latest news and stories going on. And this Tuesday, it's the United Way of the Brazos Valley. Lizette, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It has been a while. First thing I saw her out there in the hall, I'm like, hey, she's like, it's been a while. Because last time we had a different visitor where there was weather too. And what have you been up to?
Oh, busy, let me tell you.
Well, I know the United Way never rests, so.
We've got a lot going on right now.
What do you got coming up next?
Sure. So we actually have back-to-back events. The first one being June 12th. We rescheduled the Sneaker Soiree. It's going to happen on June the 12th at the Kimball, 6:30 to 8:30. Again, it's like a cocktail party with a purpose. So you get dressed up, but you wear your sneakers. So food and drink, and actually we're going to do some maybe 90s hip-hop, 90s music. I think that's the best decade of music myself. So it's going to be a great time.
90s hip-hop. I'm sorry. I love I love all music. I do not discriminate in the music world, so I approve of the choice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And help people remind. This is a fundraiser, Help the United Way of the Brazos Valley. You guys help other nonprofits accomplish their mission. And it's June 12th. What's the time again?
6:30 to 8:30.
All right. So the Sneaker Soiree got moved June 12th. What else? You said you had a couple of things coming up.
Right after that, on Saturday, June the 12th, we have Fight to Unite. So wrestling, live professional wrestling. And so that's going to be hosted at the Boys and Girls Club in Bryan. Doors open at 4. Event is at 5. This will be my first time to go. So
now you say pro wrestling. Who do you got for it?
I don't even know yet. I don't even know. Like I said, this will be my first time. And I know our friend Ted is going to be.
Oh, then I know who it is.
Yeah.
I know who Ted's. No, that's awesome.
Yes.
I know who Ted is with.
Yes.
So I know the promotion.
Perfect.
I think it's Lions Den or something,
Lions
right?
Pride.
Lions Pride. And they put on a great show.
They do. That's
they
what I
are
hear.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Okay, so both events are June 12th.
Well, no. Friday, June 12th is Sneaker Soiree, and Saturday, June 13th
There we
is
go.
Fight to Unite.
Okay. And you know what I like about this, right? This is 2 different events, I would say, for 2 different taste buds.
Exactly.
For people. So providing something for everybody is kind of the Lou life. Like, you don't want to wear sneakers, fine, but you want to go see wrestling, fine. So there's something for everybody coming up in the month of June from the United Way of the Brazos Valley. Where can they go? We'll just say Thursday, they're like, man, I think there's wrestling. I like sneakers, but I forgot. Where can they go to get more information?
So for the Sneakers Soiree, you can visit our website, uwbv.org. We also have a Facebook event. You can find information there. And then for Fight to Unite, since Lions Pride is putting this on, you can find more information at lionsprideproductions.com.
All right, uwbv.org, uwbv.org. And by the way, when you go there, you can get more information on the Sneaker Soiree, but also everything they do. You can find out how to volunteer. If you're a nonprofit yourself, you're like, well, I wonder if they could help us. You can go to uwbv.org and lionsprideproduction.com. There you go. If you want to find out more about the fight night coming up, and that's June 13th. So they're back-to-back events, and find out the one that fits you, but just get involved. Get out of the house. Go do something. Be involved with the United Way of the Brazos Valley by going having fun? Wow. You ask a lot of people, is that?
Let's do it.
So,
And also, just a reminder that all proceeds go back right into the Brazos Valley. We have 18 partner agencies. So we're not just having fun, right? We're really trying to bring our neighbors together so they can thrive.
yeah. And again, what a way to do it. The different events coming up. And real quick, summer, nonprofits, volunteers, yes, please.
Yes, please. You can find more information again on our website. We'll have some school supply drives and some summer sites where we'll be giving those school supplies out to kids. So stay tuned.
When school is out, all the nonprofits suffer this severe deficit of volunteers. It goes with A&M being out. So if you've ever thought about volunteering, you want to teach your kids to volunteer, there is no more perfect time now than Christmas. Now, those 2 times of the year, volunteers desperately needed. UWBV.org to get involved. Lizette, thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
And good luck with the events. They sound so much fun, and you guys do so many cool things. June 12th, Sneaker Soiree. June 13th is the fight night with Lions Pride, and they do such great events. And Ted is awesome. He travels the state.
I can't wait.
Doing wrestling productions.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome Tuesday, everybody. This has been the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. I'm out of here.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7. Thanks to our Aggie broadcast sponsors who make it happen. The Sleep Station, Aggie-owned, Aggie-operated, and a proud Texas company. Zwerneman Flooring, service, selection, style, and Rebel Draft House in the Northgate District. Listen to the games on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.